Hi, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. We are waiting for Jen to get on, but we're going to get started. And our topic today is I'm so bad at it, and it requires more strength than I frequently have, which is to have a thought in my brain about my kids, but not say it. So, I hear a story. I don't know if everybody's like this. I once said this. I was talking to this woman who her specialty is sleep. And I said to her something about like, I have this running reel of thoughts in my brain. And she said, "You're not special." And I found it very comforting and entertaining at the same time. Like, you know, everybody has racing thoughts, maybe not at the pace of someone else. But so here's the thing, your kid tells you a story and they're looking for, they want to hear from you that they're right. I mean, that's mostly what we're looking for in life. We're not looking for someone to tell us we're wrong. We could do that in our own brains. And sorry. And my reaction internally is to say in my brain, but you're wrong. And I have worked at like saying, oh, that really sucks. And I've gotten pretty good at that really sucks. And what I'm most grateful is that nobody has kind of called me on it. Like, why is that all you ever say to us? But I don't know what else to do with it, because what is being productive in this situation? And I guess maybe at the end I'll have some new epiphany because you're all so wise. But I do see that they're so grateful when I offer this kind of like, that really sucks, and really not happy with me if I say, I don't know, like, could you have handled it a little differently, you think? It doesn't matter how, like, I raise the pitch of my voice or I change the language around it. It's not what they're looking for at the moment. So I'm going to pass it on to Kamira. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
I was really hoping it wouldn't be me next. I was like, no.
I'll go, Kamira. I'll go. You want another minute?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so mine, I feel like, is kind of related, and it's the famous "I told you so." So, not saying that I told you so. And I'm thinking of, in particular, that situation where you know your kid has a school project coming or a test, and you're looking at the amount of work that's being put in, and it's just not that much. And you're thinking and saying, maybe, do you think you want to put some time in on that? And, it's going to be a little easier if you get it done ahead of time, because things can happen at the last minute. You know the drill. Okay. So the kid does what they want anyway. Then they get their grade back, or some disaster happens at the last minute and the project becomes, out of control. And you see this disaster in the grade or the project falling apart. And what do? Do you say, look, I told you this was going to happen? Or, maybe you should have studied a little more. Like I said, I deserve a medal too, Sue, for the times when I have said, that's too bad. That's a disappointing grade. I know you're disappointed. Yeah, because at that moment, truly, it doesn't do anything but make you the bad guy if you say, I told you so, because then they have someone else to be mad at other than themselves. Like, if we shut up, then they have no one to blame but themselves. But the minute
Sharon, that's the wisdom I was looking for. That's totally that is the wise moment when we know that we've just given them an escape route. Because they could be mad at us. Brilliant.
Yeah, because now we're the jerk who just, So I guess I'll stop there. If you just said I was brilliant, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to skip you, Kamira, unless you say, no, I'm not going to skip you. I'm going to give you a pass. I'm going to send it to Jen. Jen.
Okay, I was laughing because where I thought this was going possibly was
and then it all works out for them, because that is the worst.
Oh, that's the worst, Jen.
That's the worst, because then no lessons were learned, and you still feel like a big fat jerk because you did say perhaps to them, maybe you should put more time in this ahead of time. Then they get the decent grade and like, see, good enough was good enough. That happens probably more often than I'd care for it to happen. But I do think there is wisdom in what Sharon was saying about how to refrain from the I told you so. That's also helpful with your spouse, I find. I think maybe the way we should think about it is, if it was your best coffee friend, somebody you have coffee with regularly, theoretically on Wednesdays at 10:30, would you ever say to that person, oh gosh, Sharon, I could have told you that was going to happen. Why did you do it that way? Yeah, no, I would never. Like, I would always empathize with my friend and say, oh, I hate that. Oh, that's a bummer. And also, more often than not, my response would be, yeah, that happened to me too. So I do think that there comes a point where that's the better story to tell our kids. I know we're not supposed to tell them our own tales of woe, but I think the one exception to that time is when they're on the receiving end of something like that. I think it pays to empathize and say, oh yeah, that happened to me too. I remember that time I didn't do everything I needed to on a project, and then it kind of fell apart, and it's a bad feeling. So empathize with the feeling that they're having, perhaps, rather than the outcome, I guess, is the best we can do.
And then advanced level, Jen.
That's advanced level.
No, here's advanced level.
Oh, give it to me. AP.
Next time I'm not saying I do this, but in my head, this is what I would do. Next time there's a project and they're procrastinating, you can say, I know how disappointed you were the last time. With how it turned out. Not I was.
Right.
And then like make it their problem.
Or even that you remember how stressed they were. Like,
yes.
You know, but what I wanted to add to this whole story is timing is really important here, because if we can be patient, there are moments where we can revisit what happened when it's not tense anymore and it's not at the height of emotion.
And, is it 10 years? 10 years after, right? 10 years after the event?
No. But I do think, like, in general, the worst time to respond to anything is in that moment. And for what Sharon is saying, but also because it's you can't hear it. You can't hear it in those moments, but you might be able to hear it, a few months later when if it's the next assignment or a social situation, and you might be able to get away with something like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but you kind of already experienced this. So, okay, now Kamira's up.
Yep. Okay, so I really needed that time because I was way off. So thank you guys for that. And you guys are such lovely people. You're much better people and parents than I am. I am impatient and rude, and I guess I attract impatient and rude people because my best coffee friends, we do say things like that. Like, I was just on a call. We did a Zoom call, and one of my friends said to another friend, "Oh, your hair looks much better now." And it's just the way we talk to each other. Let me just jump back in and say, we all need that friend who tells you those pants do nothing for you, or whatever. We need that friend in our lives. Yeah. So I'm surrounded by, maybe I bring it out of people, or maybe I'm just gravitating, but that's how we are. But with one of the things that we do say in jest, but I try not to say for real, is you just wasted a lot of my money to the kids when they do something. I try not. We have a joke about it that we do. We joke with our youngest is the only one to go to private school, so when he does something boneheaded, we start saying how much tuition costs, X amount of $1,000, and everybody in the family will say it whenever he says does anything boneheaded. But for real, when they've made some mistake that actually cost money, that we paid for them to, I don't know, take a course or something, or go somewhere or something, I really bite down and go, okay, I'm not going to say you just wasted money that I could have used on something else, or, someone else had a project they wanted and that we could have put the money towards that. So that's probably when I'm best at not saying what I should say, and then later going over with them maybe. So, how can we maximize your experience with X, Y, and Z? I think that's as close as I come. Jessica, what do you have?
I mean, I don't have necessarily the greatest since I don't have any kids, but I was gonna just say, and seconding kind of the like, don't bring up those kind of, I told you so's in the moment. I've noticed, like, with me, with my brothers, like a lot of times, like usually if there's an I told you so moment, the kid already knows. The kid's already pretty mad about it. So I don't know, just seconding that, like usually the consequences coming down on you are enough to at least start the lesson.
Yeah, I love that, Jessica. I always, when my kids were younger, I always thought about double jeopardy as a concept. Like they get in trouble at school and then they come home and parents are ready with like the second layer of what's going to happen. I always felt like it's not fair. Like they took their crap already in school and they could come home for a hug or some loving. And so here's my last story I'll say, which is the thing that keeps me going down this path of trying to not say what I'm thinking. So I had a friend say to me one time, my kid is home visiting and from college and put on a lot of weight. I should tell them, right? And I said, do you think your kid knows? Like their clothes are fitting them differently. They don't feel good about the way they look. They know. And what are you doing by adding into that story? Hey, I noticed you're eating terribly and put on a lot of weight. So that to me is the most glaring. Like we can all laugh at that one and know we shouldn't say it. And that carries out over to so many other situations where they know. They know themselves, which I don't know where that line always is. I mean, there's a place for us obviously to intervene if our kid is in trouble or in crisis or something, but there's so many other times where it's just me anxious about their schedule for their assignment or their food habits or their sleep habits or whatever else, and truthfully they have to own that. At some point they have to learn it and own it themselves. So this is I think I've brought this up before, but I have a standing coffee with two friends on Friday, and we went through a stretch where we would like woohoo each other for everything we didn't say. So I highly recommend it. It's like a very fun game. You actually keep yourself quiet so that you can go tell your friends on Friday that you had this thing you wanted to say and you didn't say it. So to all of you listening, try and find those friends. Those friends that are either Kamira's friends who say it like it is, or you can brag about what you didn't say. And on that note, have a great week, everybody.